Hey everyone, welcome back to the Craft Parenting Podcast, the podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline.
Where am I? What's going on? I'm so confused.
This is a very special episode because we recorded the vast majority of this while you were out of town.
Yes. So I was using my phone while chilling on a king-size hotel bed for one. No dogs, no children, no husband, just as much bed as I desired. I slept like a starfish. It was great.
Clara likes to sleep like a starfish.
She really does.
Even though she's a dog. As I said before, this is a special episode. We aren't going to go through the normal segments because, Caroline, you recorded on the phone. And where did you go? Do you remember?
I went to Fathead's Brewing, their Canton location.
That's Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, Canton, Ohio. And Royal Docks Brewing. Because I was very confused as to where the docks were. It's like, are there boats nearby? But I did not see the boats. But there was a really yummy ice cream place that was right across the parking lot.
Yeah, you showed me a picture, and I was very jealous.
It was really... They have an ice cream sampler where it's a plastic to-go container that they put 4 scoops of ice cream in. It was really yummy because I got to try 4 different ice creams.
Well, so we are going to talk all about that. So let's dive in and get started. Thanks so much for joining. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me in spirit, but far away, is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline.
Hey, Boo, how be you?
How's it going?
Pretty good. I have a bed all to myself with 0 dogs or children's or husbands. I look like a starfish right now.
A starfish? How so?
Yeah. I am taking up as much of the bed as humanly possible when I am only one person. This is so nice.
Oh, man.
But there are no toddler or preschooler snuggles to make me feel warm and loved.
All right,
and I have no husband scratchy beard kisses.
Well, who says I have a beard?
You are pretty clean shaven these days.
But let's take a step back. Caroline, tell us where you are and why you aren't with me at the moment.
So I am currently just slightly south of Cleveland, Ohio for a business trip. And so I'm just kind of hanging out at a hotel until I go to a vendor site tomorrow to make sure that everything is as it should be. So today for dinner, I went to the Fathead's Brewery Canton location to get me some beers and some pulled pork.
Okay, so Fathead, that's a pretty well-known brewery. You said It's in Canton, Ohio?
Yes, I went to their Canton, Ohio. I don't know if they have multiple locations. I have not done enough research on this, but I went to their Canton, Ohio location.
I have a computer right in front of me.
And I have their whole beer list in my hand. There's
a Fathead's Brewery and Saloon. That's more in Cleveland, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Fathead Brewery. So tell me about this location that you went to over in Canton, Ohio. The Google says it is technically Middleburg Heights. Is that the same?
I mean, probably. I don't know enough about northern Ohio.
Okay, well, hold on. There's a Pittsburgh, Middleburg Heights, a North Almond, and a Canton, Ohio location.
I'm pretty sure I was at Canton. Yeah, I'm in Canton.
Cool. Okay, so tell me about, were there weird booths?
The booths were pretty cool. They were all wood with cushion, and you couldn't really see the people around you unless if they were directly across the aisle from you. So it was nice and enclosed, and you felt like you were just the only ones there. They had booths, they had tables, and they had high tops, and a very large U-shaped bar, and some outdoor seating as well. Unfortunately, at this location, they did not have any to-go beers unless if you wanted a growler or a howler. So I'm going to have to hit up some bottle shops tomorrow or just a grocery store or two to try to bring some to-go beers home. I'm not sure how well a growler will fare during my travels. So I'd rather get some cans if possible. And
Okay.
since you weren't there with me, I had to sacrifice myself and get 2 flights of beers. It was terrible. Can't believe you did this to me.
What did your coworker think of this?
He thought it was a lot of fun. He said it looked a lot nicer than he thought it would. And I mean, like I told him, it's hit or miss with breweries that you haven't been to before, as far as what kind of situation are you going into? Is it going to be like a place that just like built a bar themselves and threw some lawn furniture in a room and called it a brewery? Or do they have like legitimate furniture and a legitimate layout? Usually things fall along a spectrum, and those are the two extremes. This place had a really good layout and good furniture, and then they had 2 different sections of their brewery. The fermenters were actually open and with all of your dining, but then they had a closed off space where they actually did where all of their brewing equipment was, as far as like active brewing. So that's where they had like their whirlpool and the oh my goodness, why am I forgetting the
Mash
mash tun?
tun?
Yes, the mash tun. Like where they had the mash tun.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, that is what it is called, because I thought of that as you, like right before you said it. And they have like pulled pork and burgers and like some chicken options. They had lots of, and like fancy salads too. They had some good food options. At the moment, they have 23 beers on draft. They have 4 guest draft. They have mixed drinks and mules. They have wines, and then they have some guest bottles, which include 2 non-alcoholic options.
Did you get any of the non-alcoholic?
No, but my coworker did, and he said they were pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I'm just perusing their website, their history section. In 1992, Glenn and Michelle had this crazy idea that a craft beer bar and restaurant would be a great adventure. Fatheads was born. A few years later, Fatheads doubled in size. One day, Glenn and his friend Matt were sharing their dreams of brewing great beer, and something clicked. They opened a brew pub, and before you could blink an eye, accolades were floating along with their great beer. About 1 million details have been left out, and twice as many Fatheads beers have been poured, but that pretty much brings us up to date. So it seems like Fatheads is not technically an Ohio beer.
No, it looks like it's technically a,
Pittsburgh.
yeah, I don't know if I can say that word.
So in 1992, they opened up at Pittsburgh. They opened up Fatheads South Shore Saloon, was founded September 11th, 1992 in Pittsburgh's South Side. Then in 2009, they opened its doors in Cleveland. In 2012, production brewery is kept up with ever-increasing demand. 2013, the tap house inside Fathead's production brewery opens in 2013, as I said. 2017, they celebrate 25 years in Pittsburgh. And then 2018, they opened up the place where you visited in Canton.
Yeah.
Go through what you got, because you said you had notes.
Yes. So I got 8 beers total. My first flight.
In sample glasses.
Yes, these are all sample glasses. It probably equaled like 2.5 pints, maybe, between all the samples. So I got a Cactus Dance Party Prickly Pear Sour, 4.8% ABV. An epic dance-off between sweet and sour gets down on your taste buds. Conditioned on over 200 pounds of prickly pear puree, aka cactus fruit, a sweet fruit often described as watermelon meets bubblegum. Quench your Saturday night fever with this refreshing brew. I don't remember getting any bubblegum, but I feel like a little bit of watermelon with some sour would pretty much match what I got. And I was very happy because this was the first beer that I started to drink, and it was really tasty. My next beer was a Goggle Fogger Hefeweizen, which was 5.1% ABV. Traditional German-style wheat beer served unfiltered. Hazy straw-colored beer that hints at banana and clove complexity, as all Hefeweizens do. This thirst quencher drinks so easy it may fog your goggles. So, I didn't get a lot of banana, but I was fine with that. It was a very nice beer. Would have been totally great to drink outside on their patio in all of this heat that we have been getting lately.
Was it pretty hot up there?
It's a little toasty everywhere today.
I don't know.
Oh,
You guys are by the lake. I didn't know.
we're not super close to the lake, so we
I
don't
mean,
necessarily get
relatively.
all
You're
that cold.
relatively close to the lake.
I mean, I'm way closer to the lake than Cincinnati is.
Yes.
The next one that I drank on my flight was an Up in Smoke smoked porter, which is 6.2% ABV. A robust porter brewed with malted barley that was smoked over beechwood. Rich, smoky aromas greet your nose, while flavors of dark chocolate, smoked coffee, and roasted malt hit your taste buds with a nice dry finish.
So how was that one?
That one was really yummy. So I was going to drink this one fourth, but I finished my first 2 beers, and then I got my pulled pork sandwich and said, you know what? I'm going to hit this sandwich up and have the smoked porter next because this is going to be delicious together. And it was. My coworker said it smelled like maple syrup, but it wasn't really that sweet. Maybe he meant more like maple wood chips.
Maybe.
Oh, but it was really yummy. I'm a big fan of smoked beers, and it went really good with the pulled pork.
It's definitely an acquired taste. How much smoked was it? Was it like in your face, like kind of like the West Side Roush beer is?
So I would say it wasn't that smoky. Now would someone else say that it was super smoky? Potentially, but it wasn't like I didn't feel like I was eating wood chips, or like charcoal. So it wasn't super smoky. It was just like the right amount of smoke to go with the pulled pork.
Okay. So what was the last beer in the flight?
So last beer in my first flight was my dessert beer because it was Crumbleberry spiced blueberry ale. So Fatheads has a bumbleberry beer that I swear I get from time to time in Cincinnati, or at least I get a very similar beer.
I think that's one of their like one that you might find on tap. The other one that you might find, I believe, is the Hop Juju.
Yes, which has won quite a few medals,
yes,
according to their beer list. So, but Crumbleberry is a spiced version of their blueberry ale. It is 5.3% ABV. We kept what you love about Bumbleberry, our honey blueberry ale, and added just a little bit more to it. Madagascar vanilla beans and crushed cinnamon sticks take this light ale to a whole new level of yum. So it was basically like I was drinking a blueberry pie, and I was not mad at it in any way, shape, or form. It was really, really good. I would like more of that beer in my belly. Please and thank you.
It's the Bumbleberry honey blueberry ale.
Yeah, but with vanilla beans and crushed cinnamon sticks.
Oh no. Man,
oh no, what?
That sounds really good.
I know. It was.
I really like the artwork. I'm on their website just perusing as we talk. I really like
their artwork is really cool. So because they take their logo, which is a guy with a fat head in like a donut that says Fatheads Brewery, and they just change what is around his head. So like what he's wearing on his head, what his glasses look like, if he has anything around his neck. So like with their Bumbleberry and their Crumbleberry, he looks like he has bee antennas and he's got a bunch of blueberries hanging out around him. So then after I finished my first flight, I got a second flight because I needed to drink as many beers as possible because I wanted to try everything. So the first beer on my second flight was limes. What limes? Key Lime Goza, which is 4.9% ABV. So this lactobacillus kettle-soured Goza is brewed with wheat, pink sea salt, and conditioned on tons of key lime puree. The result is a super tart, refreshing ale, made in tribute to Savage Henry, even though he's been ripping us off for years. And you know what that means. I do not know what that means, but now I am very intrigued.
I got nothing. I guess I could look it up, but I'm not going to do that.
You make up your own story, dear listener. The next beer in my flight was the Black Knight Schwarzbier, 5.3% ABV.
I saw that on the tap list when I was looking through the
this one has also won a ton of awards. And the description is silky smooth black lager with luxurious dark roasted malt flavors and soft, delicate finish. And then your homegirl went off the rails a little bit.
Uh-oh.
So the last two beers in my flight, the first one was Mounds at Midnight, Imperial Dessert Stout, 9.1% ABV. Have the midnight munchies? Well, we've got you covered in chocolate. Mounds of chocolate swirl in your glass with lightly toasted coconut and cocoa nibs. Finishes with a sweet medium to full body that sticks to your palate. It was really good. So the Schwartz beer was tasty. It was nice and smooth. Everything that I would like to hear having a Schwartz beer. The limes, what limes, key lime goza, kind of tasted like a margarita without being a margarita.
Yeah.
But then the Mounds at Midnight was like chocolate and delicious. And that was like a good dessert beer to start work to end the night. And then my last beer was Lucky 13 Anniversary Belgian, which was a 10% ABV. Congratulations to Fatheads North Olmsted for 13 years of excellence. Thank you to the owners and staff throughout the years, and especially to our customers who make it all possible. This big, bad Belgian golden strong ale's yeast provides a classic balance of fruit and spice. The full-bodied, rich mouthfeel is balanced with just enough hops and finishes with a touch of sweetness. Here's to 13 years and hopefully 13 more. So yeah, it was a very good Belgian. It wasn't super hoppy,
Yeah.
and it was very smooth. So I could drink a lot of it, which is a problem because it's 10%.
You have to be careful with the Belgian ales.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to say about Fatheads Brewery up in Canton, Ohio?
It was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that we're staying really close to it. And I didn't have to twist my coworker's arm to convince him to have dinner there. And even though he doesn't drink alcohol, he still had a good time there because they had non-alcoholic options. So he was super happy when he saw that.
Okay. Well, if he enjoyed the non-alcoholic beer, yeah, you still pay the beer prices, but
Yeah, so because they had at the time, and this beer list I have says May 31st on it. Sorry, numbers are hard today. So they printed this off today of everything that they have on draft. I'm assuming it's their list for the next week. Is one of the kids up? Because I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Lily's awake. Keep going. 30,
Okay.
But we have to sign off because she's just crying in bed and she's going to wake Elliot up.
Okay. It was lots of fun. I miss you guys very much. And good luck with the kids, honey. I love you. I don't have a parenting problem.
No, you don't.
I really don't. You have double the parenting problem now.
I have over the last couple of days. But before we get into that, my name is Joe Ludwig. Thank you so much for being here. And that voice that you hear is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline, who is on the phone joining us virtually.
From good old Canton, Ohio.
Tell us where you are, yeah.
So I am still on a business trip as of this recording. Just trying to find breweries that I can drink beer at and convince my coworker to drive to. Today, I went to Royal Docks Brewing Company, which is actually, I managed to go to their first location today, where they started in 2015.
Okay.
I didn't really find a lot of information about them online. I tried to.
Yeah, I've never heard of them, but I did some just quick searches as well. It seems like they have multiple locations.
They do. They have multiple locations, and they are a London, England kind of based brewery. As far as theme goes, they are a London themed brewery. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, but are they based in Ohio or are they?
They are based in Canton, Ohio. I will read the about us from their LinkedIn page because this is.
Yeah, their website wasn't very robust. It had all.
It did not have an about us section,
right.
But their LinkedIn profile does. So, Royal Docks Brewing Company is an independently owned craft brewery and taproom that fuses the craft beer renaissance with British pub culture in a contemporary American style. We, the folks behind Royal Docks, are Canton natives that were lucky to call Britain home for over a year. Although our time there was brief, it didn't take long for us to fall in love with the pub and a decidedly British concept that we are excited to bring back and share with you. The pub is a vital part of a community's social fabric. It's a place where the welcome is a little warmer, the room is a little cozier, the barkeep is a little friendlier, and the crowd is somehow a wee bit more familiar, even if it's your first time there. That's what Royal Docks hopes to achieve. We don't aspire to be a national chain or a regional six-pack phenomenon. We're not trying to be a hidden treasure or cater exclusively to eccentric taste. We're just jazzed about making good beer, fostering a comfortable environment, and sharing it with our friends and neighbors. And then if that sounds like your kind of scene, follow us as we build a community hub right here in Canton, Ohio, and we hope you'll join us for a beer and maybe a bite to eat. Until then, cheers.
Okay. That seems very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, when they say English pub, what kind of beers do they have?
They have all sorts. Let me pull up. So, because they have like IPAs. They had one of the beers that I got was actually like a German beer. They had like a fruity beer. They had a Goza. They had some darker beers. Hard to see what they currently have on tap.
That's okay. Why don't we just go through what the tap room looked like? Like, was it really big or was it small or?
It was a pretty decent sized tap room. It's part of a newer strip mall, and it's right next to a health food restaurant. So I made the comment to my coworker as we were walking in, like, I wonder how often the health food restaurant coworkers get sad because people are walking into the pub instead of the health food store. Because I'm like, maybe I'm not making the best decision right now, but this beer sounds like it's going to be really tasty. Like, all of their doors are painted red. They have flags hanging up for all of the different regions in Britain. I was very surprised that they weren't playing soccer on the TV. Sorry, football. It was hockey.
They were playing hockey in an English pub.
Yeah, I don't know if there was any proper football on TV at the moment, though. Yeah, so they have wooden, like they have low wooden tables and they have some high top wooden tables. And like the bar reminded me of going to like a British pub when we were hanging out in London and Edinburgh. Like casual drop that we went to Europe. And they had most of the food on their menu was like flatbread pizzas and salads. And then they had like some stuff to share too. Me and my coworker both got flatbreads for dinner. But like it was really good. So like I got a Nashville hot pizza. So it was like a pepperoni pizza with hot honey and some fancy stuff on it. And it was really good. And then my coworker got a cheeseburger pizza. So it was basically like a deconstructed cheeseburger on top of pizza. So it was like bits of hamburger, pickles, bacon, cheese. And he said it was pretty good. And then I got a flight of 6 beers. And it was very hard to pick out just 6 beers.
How many beers did they have?
15 to 20.
Oh, wow.
They had a lot of beers on draft. Probably closer to 15. Because I think I almost got half of them. Yeah. I mean, if their tap list is updated, they have 12 beers on draft. And I think they had like a guest tapper too.
Okay, cool.
So the first beer that I drank was called Crazy Enough, a double India Pale Ale, version 2.0.
Interesting. Okay.
So the Untapped has it listed as an IPA Imperial / double New England / hazy. Their description. Oh, it's 9% ABV. I did not notice that. A deceptively easy drinking, but rather high voltage, double IPA, generously dosed with an out-of-this-world quantity of pineapple juice to each barrel and dry hopped with some of the sexiest Australian Vic Secret, Rockatoo, and American Citra hops that money can buy, and yeast worthy of a Star Trek cameo. Crazy Enough is a summertime heavy hitter with a big, juicy fruit aroma and an equally powerful hop backbone.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't get as much pineapple as I hoped for, but I accidentally drank the beer that I wanted to drink first. Like, I drank half of it before I started drinking this one. So, like, as like a teaser, like, you'll have to stick around to hear what I drank third, because that one was really good too. But since that one had so much fruit, this one I was like, I'm not getting as much pineapple as they want me to, but it's because I drank my beers out of order on accident. But it was really good. Like, it was not super hoppy. It was the only IPA that I got, but it still wasn't like crazy, like dry out your mouth hops.
Well, the hazy IPAs don't do that. Did you see ones?
Yeah, I mean, they don't do that as much, but it still wasn't it wasn't as much hops as I thought it was going to be. And it was very good. It was very smooth and it was very refreshing. This day started off really hot, and then we got a really big thunderstorm that rolled through. So things cooled down quite a bit. So it probably would have been better during the hotter part of the day.
We are supposed to get a big thunderstorm around right about now, actually, 10 o'clock.
Ah, sweet. Good luck with that. So the thunderstorm here was like we were about to leave to go to the brewery, and I was like we were gonna leave at like 6:30, and then it was like 6:10, and I looked out my window and I'm like, are you ready to go now? Maybe we should go now because the weather did not look really great. And by the time we made it downstairs, it was raining sideways. So we just stayed at the hotel and waited for the storm to pass, which was probably a smart move because there's a slight dip in the road, like right down the street from the hotel. And it was very full of standing water where like if like there'd be breaks in the cars driving down the street and the first car in the next pack would be like zooming down the road, and then all of a sudden you'd see these two huge sprays of water go off either side of the car, and then they would slow down, and then every car immediately after them would brake, but only like the first three because the other five behind them hadn't totally caught up yet. And I'm like, I am going to watch someone get into an accident as I walk on this treadmill. This is great.
Wait, you were on a treadmill?
Yeah, I decided to walk on the treadmill since I had time to kill. I was going to get in the pool, but I didn't bring my swimsuit with me, so I couldn't do that. But there were two little gentlemen that did enjoy the pool because I came up the elevator with them and their family after we got back to the hotel from the brewery. And the father asked me where the party was because I was carrying all of my to-go beers back up to my hotel room. And I said, I'm not going to tell you because these are mine. And I was like, but here's where you can go tomorrow.
Interesting. Okay. Let's talk about your second beer.
So my second beer was No Big Dill, which was 5.7% ABV. It is a dill picagoza, smooth and refreshing. This tart and salty treat offers an elegant bouquet of dill, coriander, and cucumber with a candy-like finish, leaving you puckering for more. So this wasn't as sour as I thought it was going to be. It was just really smooth, and I got a lot of cucumber. So I was a big fan of this one. And if it had been 5 to 10 degrees hotter outside, it would have been really, really yummy.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. But the third one, this one was really yummy. My third one was Downstream Jam Dark Cherry, which is a sour fruited goza. So this one kind of killed my palate a little bit because I wasn't supposed to drink it first. But I misread how they put the beers on the flight board. So I thought that it was beer 3, but really it was beer 2. And then I was like, oh no, I didn't drink these in order. But
so how was the flight situated? Was it the West Side one where it's the corners, or?
No, since it's 6, it's if you're looking at a domino. But they do 1, 2, 3 down one side and then 4, 5, 6 down the other side. But I thought it was going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from top to bottom. So I did not read my flight right. And I should have known better because 5 and 6 were dark beers and they were both on the right-hand side of my flight board. But so Downstream Jam Dark Cherry is 4.7% ABV. And the description is, Downstream Jam is a tart tug-of-war between dark cherry sweetness and the benevolent bacteria lactobacillus. Prickly and floral, tangy with a touch of salt, Downstream Jam is a palatable reminder during those long wintry nights that there was a time when the far-off buzz of cicadas played back up to the aroma of fresh mown grass and the sun shone past 5 o'clock. It was summer once, and will be again. So this seems like it's a winter beer, but it was still really good.
So say the name again. It was
Downstream Jam, Dark Cherry.
Dark Cherry, Downstream Jam, Dark Cherry. So is it a stout?
No, it's a sour fruited goza.
Oh, okay.
So it tasted like cherry jam. There was not a whole lot sour about it. It was just really, really yummy. It would have been a good dessert beer.
I would have, just by the description that you read, I would have thought it was a stout or a porter or something.
So the next one is one that you would like. It is Royal Dark, and it is a dark lager. It is 5% ABV, and their description is, Royal Dark is a dark German-style lager. Statistically, it falls somewhere in between a Bock and a Vienna lager. It's dark, but not too dark. It presents with a copper hue and a light, creamy tan head in a pint glass or dimple mug. The flavor is all about maltiness. It's definitely sweet, but that sweetness is offset by just enough hop bitterness and aroma to balance it for drinkability. Unfortunately, I did not see this in to-go cans, so there is none of this in my to-go beer stash that I bought.
Well, we'll have to go into that last, but that sounds interesting.
It was a really good lager, and I was really bummed that they didn't have any, because I would have bought it. I bought you something else though.
And
It is not on this list.
you said it's a cross between a Vienna and a Bock.
Yes, that
That's
is what they say.
interesting, because I thought Cincinnati was like the end all be all for Bock. Well, maybe more. That's more like the Doppelbock. Maybe they mean like a Maibach. Like
Potentially. I mean, it was kind of like
Maibachs are more common.
ambery, dark in color. So, I mean, it looks like a good German lager, not as much like a Bock.
Okay.
I mean, a Bock is a very good German lager, though.
It is. It sounds very tasty.
It was, and I was bummed that I couldn't bring you any home.
That's okay. We have an entire beer fridge. I'm sure you picked out some good ones.
We do. So beer number 5 was Vlad. Oh man. It's a Russian Imperial Stout, and apparently it was 13.1%. Because since I got a flight board, I didn't really pay attention to what the ABV was of the drinks that I got.
Oh my
So I'm like,
goodness.
I'm not getting a lot of it. So the description is an Imperial Stout to be reckoned with. Vlad is a coal black, high gravity, high alcohol ale with tremendous complex flavors and aromas that hint at caramel, coffee, roasted nuts, and perhaps a wee bit of smoke with a monster mouthfeel and a warming finish. So I got a lot of the coffee and the roasted nuts. I'm not sure that I got as much of the caramel, but I also had like hot honey with my pizza, so that might have kind of killed my palate a little bit towards caramel, but it was really yummy. So one of the ones I'm going to bring home is Vlad, because I figured you would like it.
13%. Holy moly.
Yeah. I'm like 90% sure that's one of the ones that I grabbed. I'll double check with my beer fridge after I go over this last beer. So the last beer that I got was Baba Yaga, which is a coffee porter, and that is 7.2% ABV. Their description is Baba Yaga coffee porter starts with a rich, smooth porter with a roasty malt backbone. We then cold steep whole Brazil Cerrado coffee beans, gently roasted locally by Mugswigs. The soft, complex, and highly prized Cerrado imparts a distinctly nutty coffee aroma and subtle layers of chocolate, toast, and woody char. Baba Yaga pours near black with a tan head and finishes with a dry, clean, roasted bitterness. And it was like nice, and it was so good. It was hard to pick between Baba Yaga and Vlad. Like I didn't want to bring, I was trying to bring like different beers home.
Okay.
So I didn't want to get like similar beers.
I mean, all these sound very tasty.
They were. And I was so glad that I found them in my Google search, because when I talked to the people at the company that was the reason why we were coming up here, I was like, hey, so we went to Fatheads last night. Where should we go tonight? That's a brewery that has food. And they're like, I don't know. We would have told you Fatheads, but like we tried to go to Fatheads last night, but they were already closed. And it's like, what? Like we left there at 9. And they're like, oh, that's when we tried to get in. Like, well, we almost saw you there then. So I was just like, breweries near me. And I found 2 that sounded interesting, but one of them didn't have food. So let's see here. So to go beers. Yes, I did get Vlad. So Vlad is coming your way.
Yummy.
And yeah, this does say 13.1%. The other one that is coming home is the Downstream Jam Dark Cherry Goza, because that one was so yummy. And I think that you'll like it. So I think you might end up drinking one of them yourself, because it's not like Urban Artifact where it's super tart, and it's like it might have a little bit of bitterness to, like it might have a little bit of tartness to it. But I think the sweetness and the jam is enough that you'll like it.
Okay.
So the last beer that I'm going to bring home is Pendragon Welsh Rare Wit, which is a wheat beer. It is 5.3% ABV. In 2018, it won gold at the Great American Beer Festival.
Ooh.
The description is, legend has it that King Arthur's father, Uther Pendragon, possessed 2 magical ales. One of those ales was, quote, wrought in Avalon, end quote, to refresh his warrior spirits and imbue them with the courage of a red dragon. This light-bodied, refreshing ale is gently spiced with herbs and spices native to the Welsh countryside as our homage to that legendary ale. And like the schluck that I had was really yummy.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So I thought that you would really like that. And I mean, it's going to be great with the weather warming up.
It sounds like a great front porch beer or a lawnmower beer.
So it's going to be real tasty here as the weather starts getting warmer and warmer. So yesterday we went to Fatheads, and at least the location that's near our hotel does not sell to-go beers unless if they're crowlers or howlers, or growlers or howlers. And we do not need any more growlers. So I was like, okay. They're like, well, just hit up the grocery store because we have beer in like all of the grocery stores nearby. So you'll be able to find something. And so when I was at the brewery today, Royal Docks, I was like, hey, so I'm going to hit up a grocery store tomorrow to get some to-go beer. I'm going to grab some Fatheads because we went to Fatheads yesterday, and I just got a bunch of beer from you guys. So who else that's semi-local should I get beer from? Like, what should I look out for? What's good? And she was there was a girl and a guy who were helping me figure out what I should do. And so they told me about the blonde coffee from Wolf's Ridge, and I was like, okay, that's Columbus, but that's semi-local enough. Okay. They mentioned a beer that looked like it was like orange and yellow and like looked like it was from the 70s, like with the can art. They said that was really good. And I said, okay, if I see it, I'll know what you guys are talking about. So that's fine. Because she was describing it and he was like, all of the things that you're using to describe this are not helpful. And I was like, no, she's describing what the can looks like. If I see the can, I'm going to know exactly what she's talking about. Like, we're cool. This is good. And then she says, well, do you like sours? And I'm like, yeah, I love sours. And she's like, well, there's this brewery called Urban Artifact. And I'm like, oh, I'm from Cincinnati. I get Urban Artifact all the time. But like that was local, quote, quote. So I'm going to see, my coworker wants to hit up a pawn shop. And I said, okay, you drop me off at the grocery store. You can go to the pawn shop.
What does he think about you with all of this beer?
He says it's really cool. Because we have a hobby and like we know what we're about. And so he's asking me all of these different questions about beer and how to make beer and like the different types of beer. And I'm able to answer all of these questions. And he's like, that's awesome. I'm learning so much. But he does not drink beer. Well, he doesn't drink alcohol. So he's trying to like find all of the non-alcoholic beers and drink those. So he got, I think I talked about it when we talked about Fatheads. He got 2 different non-alcoholic beers at Fatheads. At Royal Dock, they had a ginger beer that was non-alcoholic. So that's what he got with dinner. And he said that was really yummy.
Really?
Yeah.
It seems more, seems like there's more variety up there, like the non-alcoholic.
Yeah, and I don't know. So the non-alcoholic beer that he got yesterday was Flying Dog and Untitled Art. And I know Untitled Art is known for their non-alcoholic beers.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. You did say that Fathead had guest taps.
Yeah. And then the ginger beer, I don't know. I didn't see it on the tap list. So I don't know if it was like a bottle or if it was actually on draft or whose it was. Like, I don't know if it was their ginger beer or somebody else's that they just had in as a non-alcoholic option. Because there were a lot of kids there. And like they had a red telephone booth. I forgot to say that. Like they had a red telephone booth that you could take pictures in and stuff. And there were a bunch of kids like hanging out inside the red telephone booth, taking photos. And they had a sign on the wall for the loo that looked like the street signs that you see in London that are on the side of buildings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was nifty. And then they had these mysterious, I took a picture of it, these mysterious pipes hanging out of the wall that had valves on them. And I really wanted to open up one of the valves just to see what would happen, but also didn't want to be that person because I didn't know what was on the other side. Like if it was connected to a tank or what. Because there were drains in the floor underneath the weird PVC tap things.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I didn't notice that they had any cask ales. They did have and I didn't get a picture of it, at least not a full-on picture of it. They had like big letters with lights that spelled out cask. But none of the stuff on the draft list said that it was a cask ale. Because if it was, I would have just been drinking that all night. Because I miss.
Well, remember it had a specific tap. Like there was just.
Yeah, and I didn't see that tap.
Yeah. I don't know. It might look different here in the States, but
it might. And like it could have been that I just missed it. You know, it was a nice place. They had a nice outdoor patio too. But nobody was at it because it had just poured down rain and everybody was afraid to sit outside again.
Yeah.
And there was an ice cream place that was within walking distance. So after we dropped the beer off at the rental car, I convinced my coworker to walk to the ice cream place. So we got ice cream. So yeah, we've been having lots of fun.
Well, was the ice cream place local?
Yes, let me remember what it was called.
3 days later.
It was called Handel's Homemade Ice Cream. Their ice cream is made fresh in their store daily. I'm assuming it sounds like they have multiple locations based on the description on the outside, but they had a ton of ice cream flavors. And I got a 4-scoop sampler.
Holy moly.
So I got their coffee chocolate chip, the strawberry cheesecake chunk, Oreo dough, because it was Oreo and cookie dough, and it was chocoholic peanut butter ripple with like a giant, I had like a giant piece of peanut butter in the middle of my ice cream. It was all very delicious.
Oh my God.
Decisions were made. Whether or not the decisions were good decisions is very much up for debate.
It's a lot of sugar. 4 scoops? Were they big scoops?
They were smaller scoops, but like my coworker got a small ice cream cone and he's like, "This is huge," because he didn't want a whole lot. And then there was a kid who had ordered after us who got a medium, and I was like, "Look at what he got. That's a medium." And it was like a large, like I would consider that to be like a large or an extra large serving of ice cream. It was a lot of food, or like a lot of ice cream, but it was all really yummy. There was what was the flavor that I want? Oh, they had a Buckeye flavor, and I wanted to get that, but they were all out.
Okay.
And like they also had like a cake batter, but they had a chocolate cake batter too. I debated getting that one as well. It was very hard to make a decision as to what I should have gotten. I am very happy with the flavors that I got though.
Okay. They sound very tasty. So just to clarify, your work trip, I know we said Cleveland in previous episodes, but you didn't actually go to Cleveland, did you?
No, I'm staying in Canton, Ohio.
Okay.
Like technically I think Akron is the biggest nearby city, but Cleveland's the biggest nearby city that you're going to know. But I'm like an hour outside of Cleveland.
Yeah, so people might be screaming, "Why didn't you go to Great Lakes?" I know, I think I suggested that, whether it was on the air or off the air. I said you should go to Great Lakes.
I feel like they have a tap room nearby, like that I could have potentially gone to. But one, I'd rather go to Great Lakes with you.
Well, you want to go to the one in downtown Cleveland.
Yeah, and two, I want to go to the one downtown. So now we just have to make a trip to Cleveland with the kids or something. So then that means we have to like go to Cleveland. And why would you want to go to Cleveland? I don't know.
Well, I want to go. I want to see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then I want to go to Great Lakes.
Yeah.
But I
We
kind of
drive by the
want to
Football Hall
go
of
during the
Fame.
holidays, right? So you can
Yeah.
get the Christmas sale on draft. I don't know if they do it on Nitro. They do something special with it.
We'll have to look into it. We do have to start planning our vacation time. So we should work on that.
For sure. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Canton, Ohio?
There was like way more to do out here than I thought that there would be. I was really worried that I was going to be stuck in the hotel all day, like after we got done at our vendor site. And we've stayed pretty busy. And there's like way more that we could do, but like we have to do like some work while we're here. So I can't just party all the time.
Yeah.
It was funny because my boss called me and was talking to me on the phone, and she was like, "So you're going to have to repeat that again because you keep breaking up." And I was like, "I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah." She's like, it's like you're in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, Ohio at the moment, but you know that already." But yeah, it's been lots of fun. And they're like next to our hotel, there's a place that's a laser tag. It's laser tag, rock walls, and like all of this crazy stuff. So it's like a fun, lots of things to do kind of place.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, let me look because I don't remember, even though I like stared at it all morning. Oh, hey, it's raining again. It's laser tag, rock wall, and bumper cars. And I think like a skate park too. Something looks like it's at Ska.
Oh, wow.
But it's hard to tell because it's raining and the rain is in the way.
I think it's raining here too.
Yeah. But traffic has totally lightened up and the big puddle is no longer there. So cars are being a little safer. So that's good. So I miss you and the kids. I hope that they're all doing okay.
They were a lot more well behaved today than yesterday.
That's good. Has Lily noticed that I'm not there?
Yeah, she came in to our room this morning around 7. It was like 6:45-ish. And she was like, "Where's Mama?" "Mama's at school."
Did she said that?
I think so, yeah. She answers her own question.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on no, Mommy's not in school anymore at some point. Maybe I'll have to put on my cap and gown and quote graduate from class. That would be fun. We should do that. So yeah, I miss you. I'm bringing home some to-go beers. Gonna stop at a grocery store to get some more.
Are these 6-packs?
No, they're 4-packs. If they were 6-packs, I would have only gotten 2. But since they were 4-packs, I got 3.
Holy moly. Don't overdo it either.
I mean, I'll just get beer for me. I won't get any beer for you.
Well, I think we can get Fatheads down here.
I don't know if I've really seen it a whole lot. I mean, I do get their Bumbleberry. And that was one of the beers that they recommended to get was the Bumbleberry. But like the Crumbleberry, man, that was so good. But like we can make our own Crumbleberry if we really want to.
I don't know what
We just
that
have to
is.
add, it's the blueberry with some vanilla and cinnamon. So if we just add a schluck of cinnamon and a schluck of vanilla, we can kind of make our own Crumbleberry. We can bring our own adjuncts to the party. But I'll let you get some rest. I miss you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, drive home safe.
Thanks, me. I'm so glad that you could do that on-the-ground research for this podcast. You did such a great job, me. High five.
All right, let's close this up. That does it for this week's show. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are at Craft Parenting Podcast on all those platforms. You can also get a hold of us via email, which is craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com.
If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Make sure to share the show. It's what helps our show grow. If you'd like to send us stuff such as fan mail, craft supplies, or sanity, maybe sleep too. Sleep would be really useful right now.
Yes.
We have a P.O. box.
Or air conditioning, coolness.
I mean, we bought a new AC unit, so our house is staying pretty cool.
Okay, well, that's good.
But it's very hot outside.
All this information is available on our website, which is www.craftparentingpodcast.com.
That's where we post all the show notes. Plus, we've got some blog posts about some of the stuff that doesn't make it into the podcast. And Joe just redesigned the whole thing, so it looks really gorgeous. You should definitely go check it out.
Yep, it's all reorganized, and hopefully it's a better experience. And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.